Nigeria may have beaten Zimbabwe 2-0 yesterday, May 26th, 2026. But this match told a much deeper story than the scoreline suggests. Because while the Super Eagles got the victory, Zimbabwe showed courage, organization, and real attacking intent, especially in the second half. But one man completely stole the headlines: Femi Aziz. 2 goals, a statement performance, and possibly the beginning of a new chapter for the Nigerian national team. Today, we break down Nigeria's best moments, Zimbabwe's dangerous second half response, the tactical strengths and weaknesses on both sides, why Femi Aziz could become a major weapon for Nigeria, and the mistakes both teams must fix moving forward. Let's get into it. Nigeria came into this match with intensity. Right from kickoff, the Super Eagles looked sharper, quicker, and far more aggressive in transition. And that pressure paid off almost immediately. Just 5 minutes into the match, Femi Aziz found the breakthrough. The move itself was excellent. Nigeria attacked quickly, moved the ball with confidence, and Terem Igbo Mofi, MON, who turned 27 just 24 hours earlier, provided the assist with intelligent awareness. Aziz timed his movement perfectly and finished calmly. And immediately, Zimbabwe found themselves under immense pressure. Now, this was important psychologically because early goals completely change football matches. Nigeria suddenly had confidence. Zimbabwe suddenly had doubts. And for the next 20 minutes, Nigeria controlled large parts of the game. The midfield pressed well. The attacking players moved intelligently, and Zimbabwe struggled to settle. But despite that early dominance, Nigeria did not completely kill the game, and that would become important later. 5 minutes, 1 chance, 1 finish. Femi Aziz announces himself to Nigeria. Now, let's talk about Nigeria's positive first, because there were several. One major improvement was the speed of attacking transitions. Nigeria looked far more direct than in some previous performances. Instead of slowing the game down too much, they attacked spaces quickly. Terem Mofi played a very important role in this. Even though he didn't score, his movement created problems constantly. His link-up play with Aziz was particularly impressive. And then there was the defensive organization. For long stretches of the first half, Zimbabwe struggled to create clear-cut opportunities. Nigeria's defensive line remained relatively disciplined. The midfield also worked hard to recover possession quickly. And physically, Nigeria looked strong. Zimbabwe were forced to chase the game. Now, another major positive was confidence. You could see that Nigeria played with freedom after the first goal. And when confidence enters a football team, movement becomes smoother, passes become sharper, players begin expressing themselves, and that confidence led directly to Nigeria's second goal later in the game. But this match was not one-sided, far from it, because Zimbabwe grew into the game, and honestly, the second half performance deserves respect. Instead of collapsing after conceding early, Zimbabwe became more organized. They began pressing harder. The midfield started winning more second balls. And Nigeria suddenly found themselves defending deeper than expected. Zimbabwe also showed courage on the ball. They continued trying to play football. They attacked wide areas. And there were moments where Nigeria looked very uncomfortable, particularly during transitions. This is where Zimbabwe impressed me. Some teams lose confidence after conceding early. Zimbabwe did the opposite. They kept competing, and for periods in the second half, they actually looked like the more aggressive side. Now, they lacked the final product. That was their biggest problem. Good build-ups, good energy, but not enough clinical finishing. Still, this was not a poor Zimbabwe performance, and that's important to say. Zimbabwe may have lost, but the second half fight surprised Nigeria. Football matches often turn on one moment, and for Zimbabwe, the second goal killed their momentum. Because just as they were beginning to grow into the game, Nigeria struck again. And once again, the combination between Terem Murphy and Femi Aziz proved deadly. Aziz grabbed his second goal, and this finish showed confidence. No panic, no hesitation, just composure. Now, this was massive for Nigeria because at 1-0, Zimbabwe still believed. At 2-0, the psychological damage became much heavier. And this is why clinical finishing matters so much in football. Zimbabwe had periods of pressure, but Nigeria had efficiency. That was the difference. 2 chances, 2 goals. Femi Aziz could be Nigeria's next big star. Now let's be honest. Even though Nigeria won 2-0, there are still concerns. The big issue? Game control. Nigeria allowed Zimbabwe too much possession in parts of the second half. Against stronger teams, that could become very dangerous. There were moments where the midfield lost compactness. The defensive line occasionally dropped too deep, and Nigeria stopped pressing as aggressively as they did earlier. Now, this happens often in football after taking the lead. Teams naturally become cautious, but elite teams know how to maintain control without panicking. Nigeria still needs improvement there. Another issue was the chance creation consistency. Outside the 2 goals, Nigeria did not create a huge number of clear opportunities. That means the attack still needs better creativity in the final third. Because against elite African teams, 2 chances may not be enough. But there are positives. The chemistry between Murphy and Aziz could become very important moving forward. And Nigeria's overall athleticism looked impressive. Zimbabwe also has lessons to learn. The biggest one, concentration. Conceding early against Nigeria is extremely difficult psychologically. Zimbabwe needed a calmer start. Secondly, finishing. They built promising attacks, but the final pass and final shot lacked precision. And at international level, that is often the difference between winning and losing. But overall, Zimbabwe showed resilience, and honestly, there were enough positive signs to build on. But let's finish where we started, Femi Aziz, because his performance changes conversations. Nigerian fans are always searching for the next attacking star. And yesterday, Aziz gave supporters real excitement, not just because of the goals, but because of his movement, his confidence, his positioning, and his composure. 2 goals on a stage like this immediately creates attention. Now, of course, one match does not make a legend, but this was a major statement. And if he continues developing, Nigeria may have discovered something special. So yes, Nigeria won 2-0. But this match gave us much more than a scoreline. It gave us a rising star in Femi Aziz, a resilient Zimbabwe performance, tactical lessons for both teams, and a glimpse into Nigeria's future. Now, the question is, can Nigeria build consistency from this? And can Femi Aziz continue this momentum? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Was Nigeria convincing, or did Zimbabwe expose weaknesses that stronger teams could punish? And most importantly, could Femi Aziz become the next major Super Eagles star? If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more comments where history is made from unforgettable football nights and African sporting triumphs to powerful stories, leaders, revolutions, and untold moments from across African history. This is Today in African History, where the past, present, and future of Africa come alive. And I'll see you in the next video.